Hi there. Welcome to the weekly Healthy Start. The goal of this group is to get everybody on track and really embracing the opportunities that we have every week and every day for our personal health. I'm Lisa Witherow, and I own the DNA Advantage. And I am super passionate about health for myself, my family, and of course, all of you. My story is all about health indirectly. Like you're not born thinking that health is going to be your focus. But it seemed like I had reminders all the way along my path, or very blatant hints, we'll call it, in my life that health needed to be a priority. My mom died when she was 29. I was only 3. And my dad died when I was 24 and he was 53. So I was an only child and I'm it. And when I thought about having children, my greatest fear was that I wouldn't be here for them and I wouldn't be able to fulfill my true joy of being with my kids and being their mom full time, um, long term. And I really felt like I had an opportunity to honor my parents by doing this work and really diving in deeply to see how can health be done differently in a much more strategic way, because the standard system failed both my parents. There's just no way around it. And I won't allow for that to happen to my children if I can help it. I mean, they have their choices and I understand that, but I need to be able to set an example and also provide clear options so that they know what's in front of them and they can make those choices for themselves. Pretty much, I do the same for you. And what I've realized is this session is really important. Having a weekly touch base, a weekly reflection for yourself, and a little bit of support and accountability. Because what do we do when it comes to our health? Very often, we expect it to be there. We expect it just to improve on its own. And we kind of hope for the best. And I want to get everyone out of that. Let's hope for the best and just believe it's going to be better and move into action, move into strategy, doing what your body needs to truly achieve your optimal health, whether it is symptoms that you're trying to overcome, fear of disease or hereditary issues, or you want to achieve a certain goal that you haven't been able to achieve yet, and you require certain health factors in order to achieve that. That's what this is all about. And if we don't have a plan, we're very unlikely to achieve those goals. So we want to make sure that we have a way of getting there. And it's not just meandering through and hoping for the best. So the weekly calls are not mandatory that you attend. It is an opportunity for you to join, to listen in, to share. If you want to listen to the recordings because the time isn't right for you, that's absolutely fine. I would ask that you submit questions ahead of time if they've come up from the last session, and make sure that when you can join, you do, so that you get the most from it. But I totally get it. Like, we're all busy, and that is not a problem at all. I want you to know that I'm here to support you and help you do things a little differently. Make choices that really support your health and your body, not just standardized decisions or protocols, or jumping into a generalized way of doing things just because that's the way you've always done it or because that's the way you've seen everyone else do it. We want to make sure that we are personalizing our approach so that we are not giving ourselves a an unfair disadvantage. Like this, that's what this is all about, is the DNA advantage. We want to give ourselves the advantage. Now, the question has been posed, what if I don't know my DNA? That's fine. What we want you to do is at least start thinking strategically about your health. I do hope that all of you get your DNA tested at some point, but it's not required for this session. On a weekly basis, imagine if you had a goal of making a certain amount of money. Let's say you want to make $10,000 this month, but you just say, I want to make $10,000 this month. And then you don't necessarily make a plan or do anything to achieve that goal. You would never expect to make that money. It's the same thing with our health. We can't just say, well, I really hope I lose 10 pounds, or I really hope that I can, overcome these headaches and then not do anything. And so I really want to be here for you to help you gain that momentum that you need to not only accomplish your goals, but to maintain them and then identify new goals, because we have an opportunity to always be getting better. We're always, no matter what age you are, you're getting older. So let's make the best of it. And let's make sure that we are present for ourselves, because if we don't have our health, we don't have anything. We lose all of our other opportunities in life if our health fades. So I don't want to be a bystander watching this happen to anyone. I want to jump in and be proactive and help and make sure that you're guided, that you have the accountability and the guidance that you need and the support. So that's what this is all about. So this is just the introductory session to help you get started and decide if it's right for you. And it's part of that is just if you're committed to health. If you're not committed to your health, or it seems a little over the top for you to be thinking of your health on a weekly basis, then it's probably not for you. But I will say, for those of you who might bow out, when you realize, unfortunately, sometimes it takes an illness or something to really start to slide for us to start prioritizing it. So I'm praying that that's not what you're waiting for. And if you feel like it's not the right time for you now, I do hope you come back, because I've created this in this community and this approach for a reason. And it's because I couldn't find it anywhere else. And there are so many great health coaches out there. I am not dissing them at all. There are so many great people out there that care about health, that are willing to support you. What I'm saying is, I wanted to take it a step beyond just protocol and standardized medicine. I want to take it to that next level where we are actually looking at our own bodies, our own DNA, and we're able to make decisions based on those facts, because that is what makes a difference. That is what fulfills the needs of our specific biology. And we're then able to feel so much better and actually do so many more things and overcome the potential of illness. So we're preventing things from happening before we even see symptoms, which would, that to me is amazing, because as you know, from my earlier statement, I've witnessed people way too young lose control and give away their power to the system, and it didn't help. It didn't work, and they lost their lives. And so I don't want that to happen to you or to anyone that you love. And when you gain this information and this knowledge, you can't go back. I mean, you don't feel powerless anymore. You don't feel like you have this information for a day or two, and then you're like, now I've lost it. And now I'm powerless again. That's the beauty of it. You have the power, you know your own body, and you really step into your responsibility as ownership of this home. And this is the only home you get. So I'm super excited that you're here. I thank you so much for your time. And what we're doing is then in these sessions, I want you to have a sense of how these all work together. So the session will also include things like each week, I want you to be thinking of what your goal is for the month or the quarter, if you have a quarterly goal. And I want you to be identifying what you can do this week. It may just be one thing that you focus on this week that's going to move you forward and actually help you start to achieve and see results towards your goal. That one step that you take will give you actions, like action steps, and that might be daily or it may be multiple times during the week. But when you identify that, I want you to put those things on your calendar, and I want you to prioritize them. Maybe it's by putting a reminder on your phone so you have an alarm that tells you you need to do this today. Or maybe it's drinking more water, so it's multiple times a day. And that might mean that you get a pitcher that is the full amount of water that you want to drink for the day. You fill it up in the morning with filtered water, you put it in your refrigerator, and then you're not done until you drink all of that water. Now, I will caution you with that because I don't want you up all night losing sleep because you have to go to the bathroom so many times. So make sure you schedule it in the day, again, using your phone reminders to make sure that you're hitting your target early enough in the day that it doesn't cause problems. And believe me, I know I've had clients that have done that. So sleep is super important too. So accountability. You have me as an accountability partner by going into the Facebook group and being able to post what your goal is for the week. And then periodically through the week, you can touch base and just state how you're doing. You can also choose an accountability partner. If you want closer accountability, someone else in the group may also want that. So you can just reach out in that same feed and say, does anybody want accountability for their goal this week? And maybe it goes on and you just have that same accountability partner moving forward. But I highly recommend you do both if you feel you need that extra help, because getting in the group, multiple people will see what your goal is, and then they'll chime in and say, I have that same goal, or I did that last week or 2 weeks ago, and here's what I found out, or here's what I experienced. Like maybe you can even learn from other people's obstacles. Everyone's different. So it's not always going to be something that you align with others on, but it is certainly an opportunity to think through what your goals are. And you may have the same goal 2 weeks in a row because you're refining it over time, and that's fine. Some people will set a goal, let's say it's drinking more water, and by the end of that week, they've done pretty well, but they want to get even better. That second week, they may continue drinking more water, and they may add one other small goal for that second week. So it's really valuable to have all of that progress and documentation. So I want you to feel good about documenting. It's not like you are punishing yourself. You're not tracking it because it's good or bad. It's information. You're tracking, and as an example, so let's just say that it is drinking more water, and you start drinking more water, and then you realize you have more energy. That's important to document because you are experiencing benefits that you may not otherwise expect. And if your energy starts to fall off 3 months, 6 months from now, you can reflect on that, your notes, and realize that was a big component of it, was drinking more water. So another part, here's the downside. Drinking more water might make you have to go to the bathroom more often. That should fade over time because your body will absorb it more efficiently. When you're drinking more water, initially your body just flows right through your system. But we want it to get to your cells so that it helps promote energy, it helps to hydrate your cells. If it doesn't do that, if let's say after a week of drinking more water, you don't feel like it kind of fades, even 3 or 4 days, it should get a little bit better. Gradually, if it's not getting better, we need to talk about that because then we might need to add some minerals to your water, whether it's a pinch of sea salt or Himalayan salt or something more complex. That's pretty good though. We want to be able to give you what your body needs, and you're getting hints all along the way. So whether it's a positive side effect or a somewhat negative side effect, we need to listen and document. And that's all about the tracking. Now, I have tracking sheets that are very helpful because when you put it in your day timer, the tough part is like I have my day timer next to me all the time. I will write it down, but I don't necessarily leaf through every single week or every single day to see what the progress is. The tracking sheet that I have created is 1 month on one sheet, which makes it really easy to see if you have any trends or anything that really stands out as weekends being more challenging or even better when it comes to certain symptoms or certain interventions. So that's another quick tip. Now, some examples of goals. Not that you need them because I'm sure you all have your own goals, but one example would be weight. So if someone wants to lose weight, what would be an interim goal, a little action step that they could take? One action step would be to drink more water or to move a little bit more. And that might be walking, or it could be yoga, or it could be a standing desk, or it could be so many different things. It could be, of course, food and looking at food related goals, but it doesn't have to start there if you don't want to, or if you feel you eat clean already, then start with some other things, and then we can start to look very closely at what you're eating. But let's think about sleep. When you think of sleep as being a goal, I want to get better sleep. I want you to think about, in identifying your action step, do I need to go to bed earlier? Do I need to change my sleep environment? Do I need to change my sleep habits, my approaching my sleep? So, like the hour or two before you go to sleep, how are you preparing for sleep? That might be a goal. And it may be a sliver of a goal. So let's say preparing for sleep, I'm going to dim the lights. That might be the goal. For a week, I'm just going to dim the lights every night at 7 p.m. or whenever the sun sets in wherever you are. If you're in Alaska, I'm so sorry. Dim the lights anyway, because I know at certain times of the year you've got light all the time. But I would say be very specific and identify and really, really be introspective about what some of the pitfalls are, and like staying up too late. Okay, so I want to go to bed earlier. If you go to bed at 1 a.m. most nights, you can't say I'm going to go to bed at 9 p.m. because that's just not, it's going to be so far off of your goal. I would say start at like midnight or maybe 11:30, but don't push yourself beyond what you feel you can actually adjust to in 1 week, because next week is another opportunity to step it back more if you're ready. So yeah, it's just important for you to take the steps that are going to start you moving in the right direction. When it comes to mood, if you want to improve your mood and you are wanting to set a particular goal, maybe one of the goals is to start tracking what you're eating and if it affects your mood, because you might find that you have a great mood in the morning, but as you go through the day, it gets worse. Maybe look at, how do I feel after meals, and what did I eat? And does that have any influence? Or it could be what you're doing. If you're spending too much time on your phone scrolling, or if you are talking to someone who brings you down, when you start tracking how you feel, actually just track your mood for a full week. And it may take longer to start seeing what the influences are. Pain is a good one, because if you're in pain, sometimes we feel like we don't have any control over that. But let's think about what might be contributors. When we think about where the pain is, and if it is movement related, if we feel like we have very low pain in the mornings, but we have more pain later in the day, that may be because of a repetitive movement that we are doing. And so being able to identify what that is can be really helpful. And then whether we give ourselves wearing a brace, or giving ourselves stretch breaks, or again, a standing desk instead of sitting too long, depends on what the pain is, of course. But those are things that, if we need to have a discussion to talk through what those individual steps are and the increments that you can take that are specialized and personalized to you, absolutely, we can do that. And also in this call, I encourage you to bring up questions like that on a Monday, because then you have all week to implement it and test it, and then tweak it the next Monday when we have our next call. And then allergies is another thing. If you know you have allergies, and because it's spring in this region, I will bring up that allergies can be a big drawdown for our energy. They cause inflammation. They cause poor sleep a lot of times, and then of course drowsiness the next day. So we want to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves and being proactive. So if you know that you have allergies, let's look at what the cause is. If we say it's outdoor allergies, what can we do to preempt that? And it's supporting the immune system and making sure that we don't have histamine coming in from different angles. So again, we can always talk about that. One of the things I wanted to highlight in this session, because this is just the introductory session, is that in the normal interactive sessions that we will be having on every Monday, I will also have Q&A. So we will talk about a topic if there is enough time, but we will also do a Q&A. And the Q&A is just if we have questions about our goals, if we have questions about what happened the previous week, if there are certain health topics that you want to bring up, and even if we can fit in, if you have questions about how your health topic could benefit from learning your DNA. That is something that we do once a month as well, which is the open office hours. We really home in on what you can learn about your DNA and in specific health categories. But if we have time in this event, in this session, we can do that too. So also throughout the week, if you have any questions that weren't answered in the Monday event, or if you weren't able to join live, you can either submit your questions on Facebook prior to the Monday event, and I can answer them, and then you'll see that in the recording. Or you can ask them in the Facebook group under the questions, and then we will, and you can even start a new post if you want to with a question, it's fine. But if there is a question that you have that you didn't think of on Monday, then just ask it during the week, and I'll make sure that I answer it and that we get it covered, because I don't want you to have to wait until the next Monday. We want you to be able to move forward with your goal for that week with unencumbered. We want to make sure that you have what you need. And then I will touch on a topic really quickly today because about allergies, since we are in spring in this region, I really feel it's important for you to have this information. And when it comes to histamine, we get it from multiple avenues. And we want to make sure that we are cognizant of that because we have control over most of them. And one is, of course, external, like environmental allergies from any kind of pollen or tree sap or any of that, the tree pollens and the grass. Oh, grass allergies can be rough. So we want to know what is the cause. Now, we may have indoor allergies. We may have mold allergies, dust allergies. We may have all of them. We may have done allergy testing as kids and found out that we're allergic to everything. Okay. So what we need to appreciate is our immune system is very, very involved. So we want to make sure, if that's the case, that we are supporting our immune system. And then we want to make sure that we are giving our body the extra support that it needs for the individual allergy that is most prominent, like outdoor allergies. We want to make sure that we are preparing ourselves to go outside if we're going out. I don't mean you have to mask or anything like that, but there are some homeopathic remedies that are fabulous and actually help to retrain your immune system to not be overreactive. So I've actually seen that with my kids who have done amazing. They have had allergies to the point of looking like my son used to look like he had a black eye when he would go out on the playground when he was a kid. And now he has very little. He plays lacrosse, which is a spring sport, and he's outside all the time and he doesn't have hardly any issue. He used to have to take like 60 pills. They just go under your tongue, 60 homeopathic remedies in a month easily when he first started taking them, to now he takes maybe 3 or 4 in a full season, and that's it. So it does help long term. And when we come down to it, we also have to look at our other sources of histamine. So if we know we're going to be spending a lot of time outside and we have allergies, our body produces histamine. So that protecting or supporting the immune system is part of it. But then we also don't want to be adding so much histamine from foods that will then cause our bucket of histamine to overflow anyway. So we need to watch things like red sauce and all the high histamine foods to make sure that we're not overdoing it. And histamine does build up in a lot of our food if it's leftovers, meat in particular. So just be aware that if you have a really, really difficult time with allergies or histamine, we may want to look at a plan for that as well. But super helpful to be proactive, to know what is going on and what is challenging your body. And then, of course, when we have the opportunity to dive into DNA, we can identify which genes are involved, and there are multiple when it comes to histamine, and we're able to look at what's going to be helpful for us, what's actually going to make us feel better and allow us to be at our best. So if you aren't already in the Facebook group, I would love for you to join. I will include the link below the recording here. And I would guess that you already are. Most of you are already a part of the group because that's where you probably found this recording. But I would love for you to join and actually participate, because I would love to see 6 weeks from now, 8 weeks from now, and beyond, that you are having more and more benefits from this accountability and from your commitment to your health, that you are seeing accomplishment of your goals that you haven't seen for a long time. And that is the purpose of this session every week. So if you have questions, you can always direct message me on iMessenger, or you can reach out to me directly if you need to through email. And I am so appreciative of you joining and listening to this recording. And I hope it was helpful. And please come on Monday. It will be 11 a.m. Eastern time every Monday. And I would love your ideas and your questions so that will help shape the next session. Have a great week and be healthy.